We've got confirmation, at least a report, on the new name for Jedi Fallen Order 2. Or Star Wars Jedi 2. Stay tuned, we're going to talk about it.
Well, hopefully we get to have a solidified name.
May the Force.
The Force will be with you. Always.
Welcome to Star Wars Uplink, your source for everything Star Wars gaming. Welcome to Star Wars Uplink. I'm your host, Sage Goodwin, and as always, I'm joined by Sydney Laurel. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. It's Friday. I have had a lot of coffee in me, and I'm pretty jazzed up.
Enough for the both of us.
Yes.
So.
I love coffee, but I can't handle coffee very well. So it's quite the combination. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we're going to be talking about Jedi Fallen Order 2's new name and what it could mean for the storyline. And then we're going to take a break, and we'll be back to talk about the report of when it's coming out. Let's jump right in.
Just you reconsider playing that message for him.
So we have a report on the name for the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order. I'm going to do it that way. And the name is Star Wars Jedi Survivors. Or Survivor, I think it is what it's called. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. You know, it doesn't have the same ring to it.
No, it doesn't.
I'm wondering if this is just me being negative like I usually am.
Negative Nancy.
Or, there's just, even from the beginning, something so great about Jedi Fallen Order. Mm-hmm. Like, it's got a good, it's got that 2-part name to it that's just so good.
Yep.
Like, I think it would have been cool if it was I don't know, Star Wars Jedi Old Survivors or something like that. I think there needs to be a moniker or something that goes before Survivor.
Yeah, the syllables need to be in the same pacing sort of thing.
Yeah. Because they set up Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Mm-hmm. And Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. What?
I'm just gonna have to just hear it more to be like, okay, that's what it is now.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel real.
Not quite. Though, from all of the reporting, we are going to see some overview stuff at Star Wars Celebration.
Good.
And hopefully that includes a cinematic trailer, maybe some gameplay. Hopefully, probably what we're going to get is cinematic trailer and nothing else. But I would like to see some gameplay around it too. But they really need to set up what is the story beats that they're going to be playing with? What does Survivor mean? Obviously, we have Cal who survived
Order 66.
Order 66. I wonder if we're going. Let me look up real quick if it is Survivor or Survivors.
Yeah.
Because that's going to change my next theory
We
here.
need a concrete idea of the...
I looked at this news so early this morning, or when it came out, that I was like...
you've already lived 3 days in one day, so...
Yeah. I wake up at 5:30. And by the time I eat, which is noon, it's been a whole work day. Mm-hmm. Which... is pretty crazy to think about. After some research here, just to make sure we aren't just speaking out of our bums here, it is called Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Just
Period.
Survivor.
Survivor.
Singular.
Okay.
Does that mean he's going to be faced with surviving? Has he already survived? Is that in reference to Order 66 or the first game? Is it even focused on Cal Kestis? There's so many questions. The reason I was wondering, because if it is Survivors, you could see with what we talked about last episode of how Ewan McGregor had said that Obi-Wan could be in another Star Wars game. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's the tie-in there, because they are both survivors. Or I assume so, unless they're just going canon out the window.
Right.
And Obi-Wan actually dies in Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's replaced by a clone.
Please. Oh, well,
I mean, that kind of checks out, right?
Yeah. I mean, you got Rey. We won't go into that here.
Yeah. You got Palpatine.
We've decoded the intel from the First Order spy, and it confirms the worst. Somehow Palpatine returned.
Hello, Star Wars Weekends fans. How you doing?
Snoke.
Ugh. Yeah. Ah.
There's a lot there.
Yeah. So, do we feel like it's going to be about Cal again?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, he's such a strong character.
Right.
Why would you set up this incredible character and not continue that? I think it's just a missed opportunity if they don't.
You know, I'm just realizing that I don't know the end of Jedi Fallen Order.
Because you
I guess I kind of know it.
You know the end because you watch me
But I just don't
in
know.
like
I don't-
harsh anger
Right. Yeah.
try to finish
Okay.
off the final boss.
Yeah, it was just hard to watch. It was hard to watch. And I don't know the full story, so I don't really know why and the reasons behind it all. So I feel like I've got big gaps in my knowledge of Star Wars Jedi.
You play Jedi Fallen Order, man. I've got it on the Xbox. Just boot it up.
Yeah. Just do that.
Just do it, man.
Yeah.
I finished in 16 hours. No. 17? 16?
And you dedicated
16
an
hours.
entire day to that,
Exactly.
yes.
And I failed miserably. I probably could have finished it much sooner. I probably could have finished it in like 12 hours. Because there's a solid like 4 hours. I mean, one hour for sure I was stuck on a puzzle. I just could not figure it out. Very frustrating.
Love it.
And another, would you say like an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours on that final boss? Because I was so adamant of not switching the difficulty level. But I was like, one, I was super tired.
Yeah.
Because it was, 2 or 3 a.m.? It ended up being
It was pretty
super
late.
late.
Yeah.
Especially for me who goes to sleep at 9:30.
Yeah.
So it was super late. I'm living off of pizza and beer.
Yeah. Oh, no.
I am 16 hours in. I'm just totally over it. It takes a lot to make me mad at a game. Like you're witness to this.
Yeah.
Like it takes a lot before I get upset at anything, really.
Truly upset. You can
Yes.
get frustrated.
I can be frustrated,
but you'll still like go through it and just
But in
kinda
terms of me,
grumble,
like,
but
truly like
yeah, but if you see him silent, you know things are bad. Like, oh no, he's not communicating. He's not. Yeah, it's bad.
So yeah, that
So,
was quite
you're
the
just-
time.
You're at the end. You're at the end of your rope there.
Yeah. Needless to say, you could probably finish it pretty well.
I'll probably just put on story mode or something and
Yeah.
go through.
Oh yeah, you could probably play that game in like
Beast it out.
maybe even 6 hours, honestly. Like story mode.
No, because I wouldn't just be trying to finish it. I would be exploring and
Yeah. Oh yeah.
trying to get all the
probably 8
crates
to
and
10.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like if you played an hour a day, it'd take a week. It's not too bad.
Not too bad.
30 minutes, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
15 minutes. It's like 3 weeks. 4 weeks.
Oh gosh.
Could you imagine just playing only 15 minutes of that game? That would be
No.
like,
Yeah.
why?
Ooh.
That does not sound fun.
Wow.
Okay, 15 minutes is up.
I took 15 steps. Okay, I guess I'm done.
I've fought like a quarter of this boss fight's health, and now it's time to pause and continue on later.
Yeah, pretty much.
That would suck.
That would be so sad.
But I mean, hey, if you've only got 15 minutes, it's a good usage of 15 minutes, honestly. Game's fantastic. So we have kind of that storyline of Cal Kestis surviving Order 66, getting roped in, discovered, attacked by the Inquisitors. And then we have a story beat where he's slowly but surely rediscovering his Force abilities. We see him go through challenges and turmoils and overcoming them, all in the effort to find a holocron with a series of Jedi, or not even Jedi, Force sensitives in the galaxy. That it's a listed names. But we also see in that last final scene, spoiler alert, if you have not played Jedi Fallen Order, skip ahead like 2 minutes. We have him decide to destroy it, I believe, if I remember correctly. He destroys the holocron.
Okay.
Because he discovers, unlike Luke.
Luke, we're looking at you.
Stop it, Luke. He realizes, hey, if we bring these people into this world, like, they're going to get hunted down. Mm-hmm. They will most likely get killed, and we do not have the power or the resources to protect them.
Yeah. So he destroys Obi-Wan's holocron.
Yeah. And they just want to have adventures, which I'm totally down for, like, just an adventure game. Like, let's have some fun. Go to Coruscant, please.
that constant Coruscant plug. But Coruscant.
Yeah.
Adventuring.
I mean, you could go anywhere, but Coruscant is good. You should totally start with Coruscant.
Let's start on Coruscant. How about that?
And then there's also the question of, like, what do they move forward with the format? Because you have Cal Kestis, and this is always the struggle with Metroidvania style games where you discover new abilities. I think what Shadow of War did, going from Shadow of Mordor to Shadow of War, you keep all of the abilities that you unlocked, but you start to be able to improve them. You start to be able to go to the next step. You start to be introduced to certain different challenges. Like, you have the tools available to you, but you have to use the tools in a different way than the previous game led you to them. What do you think? Because we have this Metroidvania style, which, if you're not aware, Metroidvania is in reference to the Metroid series of video games and the Castlevania series of video games, where you discover abilities on your path through to the end. So you go through and you're all about adventuring and finding out these different areas of, you may go down this one section and you get a skill or an ability that lets you continue on in this section up here. And then you continue on, you slowly but surely upgrade yourself, and as you get more abilities, you can access different areas in the same map. So you may be able to go to a section, but until you have a certain ability, you can't continue on that specific path.
I really don't know where they could take the story. Unless he's getting hunted again.
Maybe. I mean, now that Darth Vader knows that Cal's around.
Right. So their Hakuna Matata moments are going to just vanish. And once again, we're plunged into... But why?
Darkness.
Is he going to find someone else? Mm-hmm. Is he going to get his own alignment, I guess I'll say, challenge? Mm-hmm. Is he going to think about joining the dark side at this point?
I would love to see Marin, who is one of the Night Sisters that's part of their team. We get introduced to her. Super cool character. I think if we go into maybe more of her story, and it's along those lines of things, how does she fit into the crew? How does that just take into effect? What does she add to the team? And what is some of the conflict and the strife that moves this story forward? Mm-hmm. What is that?
Right.
I mean, I could totally understand the want to step away from Cal Kestis as a character.
You can't,
in terms
though.
of a storyline. It'd be way easier to tell a
totally different story
because you don't again, that's the thing with sequels. Well, how can you stay true to the character that you set up with the first one, but also allow them, because it was so tightly set up, if they wanted to end there, they could. If they wanted to continue on, they totally left it open, but like they want to go to adventures. What are like the motivations that these characters have, and what is that conflict that they have to face?
Right.
I think we're going to see more Inquisitor stuff. I think that we're going to start to see a lot more Inquisitors around, especially, I mean, that time frame is full of Inquisitors. It's like the foundation of the Inquisitors, like really getting into their true power and really flexing that. What does that look like for Cal and the team? I wonder if we get more bounty hunter stuff. Because there is that little side mission that is super jarring when you like first play through it, but it's like, oh, this is really fun when you play through it again. You get put into that arena.
Right.
And it's because I can't remember his name, but it's the pilot on the team, the guy with 4 arms.
Yeah.
He was getting tracked down by some bounty hunters because he owed some money, and then Cal Kestis was the one that was captured to bring him in there so they could try to get the money back from him or keep him there.
I gotcha.
Also, he was in the arena to fight a bunch of stuff there too. So I could totally see maybe the bounty hunter side of thing, really.
Yeah.
I would love to see this become like a real series. It's not a series until it's like more than, or at least 3, I don't think. But it would be awesome if we saw like, the first one was the Inquisitors and kind of getting him to know the world.
Right. To know his powers. And
Yeah. To really rediscover himself.
Yeah.
Maybe he wants to continue that like Indiana Jones style path where he wants to discover what really went wrong with the Jedi, the Order 66. Maybe he wants to rediscover that. And we get a lot of like, this is like the character development. Like, if they're doing a 3-part series, which would be awesome. This is making a lot of assumptions here. Like if they were going to do a 3-part series, and the first one is the setup as well as the discovery of his abilities, we need to see the big conflict at least set up if they're going to resolve it in the third one. And then we see in the second one, what are some of the doubts that he has? What are some of the ways that he's failing as a character? What are what's the darkness that he has to overcome? Maybe it's a pull to the dark side.
Right.
Like what if he like through all of this pain and sadness and connection starts getting pulled to the dark side? I think that could be pretty cool.
Do you think what time frame do you think they're going to start at? Like where do you think do you think they're going to just jump right into like just a couple years later?
I think that would make the most sense.
Yeah. I think
That's a good question though.
Yeah.
Do they make a time jump? Do they continue on exactly as the first one left?
I feel like as far as what you were talking about with having the build up of conflicts and things to lead to a third, I feel like the first thing that my mind goes to is that they'll start with everyone all together. Something will happen and everyone splits up. And then that way, even if you're not all of them, or if you're just with Cal or whatever, you're trying to find them.
Yeah. And
trying to reconnect. And in that process, he's trying to figure out who he is without these people again.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, when you get a group, when you get a posse, you kind of fall into a rut. There's a rut.
There's a trope there too of like as the team gets together, there's going to be some conflict, and then they separate, and then one of the underlying things is they separate, and then one of them gets captured, lost, can't be found, hurt, and then the whole journey for that section in this trope is to want to save, overcome, find that person.
And that would kind of make sense as far as the whole Metroidvania style.
That's true.
Because then you're going for other things to be able to unlock certain stuff, to be able to save certain people.
Yeah, exactly. What would be cool, too, is if something that we're seeing a ton with new or next-gen games is the ability using like the new SSD speeds and the power of these new consoles to be able to hop between perspectives. We saw this in Medium, which I don't think we're going to get something like Medium-esque where you actually have a split screen there playing between 2 parts in certain sections. I could totally see you're playing in between these two characters. Like one, like maybe it's Marin that goes off on her own, and then Cal is trying to find her. Or what would be really fun is if Cal just goes missing. Like he just drops off the face of the planet. You're left with this new character, Marin, and you get to really explore her character arc. And you're hopping in between these two views. Mm-hmm. And I think that would be really cool. We're seeing it with like Ratchet and Clank and the Dimension ones of hopping into. It's not necessarily the same thing in between, like hopping in between characters, but it is similar in the fact that you're hopping in between these different locations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like any of that could play into the Survivor-esqueness? Honestly, I feel like Fallen Order should have been named Survivor, if anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they're giving us a whole lot to work with in terms of the Survivor name.
No.
Because it's both a good name and a bad name because you have the multi-meaning of it. Is it in regards to Cal Kestis and Order 66? Is it in regards to Cal Kestis in the first game? Is it in regards to his mentor? Is it in regards to the Jedi Order as a whole? Is it in regards to being hunted down? And there's so many different levels and directions you can go that way. Mm-hmm. So
we need more information.
Mm-hmm. We do.
This is not enough.
Give it to me. Give me more details. Anyway, we're going to take a little bit of break and we'll hop back and talk about when we're going to see this game. Because we do have some more leaks and stuff around that.
This podcast is a production of Uplink Media Group. Uplink is a podcast network dedicated to highlighting the love and experience of gaming and pop culture. Check out our other shows, The Battlefield Show, Star Wars Uplink, and The Forge, the Halo Infinite podcast, as well as our YouTube channels for even deeper dives into Battlefield, Star Wars, and more. YouTube.com/Uplink Podcast and StarWarsUplink.com.
Only different in your mind. You must unlearn what you have learned.
So we talked about kind of expectations, what the story is, what the name could mean. Now let's talk about when can we expect Jedi Fallen Order? No, not Jedi Fallen Order 2. When can we expect Star Wars Jedi Survivor? When can we expect this game?
It doesn't flow out of the tongue. Off the tongue.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Mm-hmm. Especially with, Star Wars Jedi.
Star Wars Jedi is hard to say.
Yes. Jedi Survivor.
Mm-hmm. Jedi Survivor's a little better.
Still not.
A little better.
Still not like tasting on the
right.
palate.
Yeah. Oh well.
A little too much salt.
So when? When can we expect it?
Salt.
Salt.
Originally, we heard rumors. This has been the longest running expectation of when this game would be coming out. And that was holiday 2022. That was when we expected it to be released. We're now hearing rumblings that it will be pushed to 2023. All but confirmed. And from these reports, people are expecting it to be in that first quarter of 2023. But the more I was looking at the schedule, they have a major IP in Q4 of 2023. So I don't know. I could see it. Again, they haven't officially unveiled anything. We will know more than likely at Star Wars Celebration. Mm-hmm. So not too much longer. But the expectation now is that it will be 2023. I could totally see them giving it that extra time that it needs in the oven. Mm-hmm. They've made the decision to switch it to next gen, which I think is a good decision.
Yeah.
I think we're 2 years from the consoles launching. The PS5 and the Xbox launched crazy 2 years ago. We still have a pretty hefty player base on those new consoles. The PS5 is selling more than the PS4 did in the same amount of time, even with the shortages. It's still pumping out really good sales numbers.
Wow.
Xbox Series X, again, same thing, selling more than the previous gen in the same amount of time. So we have those things. I think it's a good decision for them. Again, I think it's a good decision for them to make it next gen only. That gives them a lot more headroom. They don't have to test on. I mean, if you also include previous gen, you have to do base model PS4, base model Xbox One. Then you have to do Xbox One S, and you have to do Series X, or not Series X, Xbox One X. Then you have to do PS4. Then you have to do PS4 Pro, and then you have to do PS5, and you have to do Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X.
Oh gosh.
So the move to just do next gen, it's PS5, Xbox Series S, and Xbox Series X. 3 platforms and PC. 4 platforms total that you have to worry about. You have to test against. So much easier to work with. So that helps them to deliver a quality product.
Yeah, quality product for sure, but just maybe probably a lesser fan base to have, like to
initially.
Yeah. Just until people go get their jobs.
But the player base on the PS5 and the Xbox Series is still pretty strong, which is pretty good.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised they're pushing it to next year.
Yeah.
Or
exactly. I mean,
theoretically pushing it to next year.
We saw Bethesda recently. They had Starfall that was going to come out this year. That got delayed to next year. So I think we're going to see some huge games next year. I mean, Redfall as well, Starfield. Did I say Starfall last time?
Yes.
Starfield got delayed. And Redfall got delayed from Bethesda. Gotham Knights was delayed a while ago. We're starting to see more rumblings of that. We got 15 minutes of gameplay, so that's good. We're starting to see games that were delayed a couple years ago start to release. One of those was Lego Star Wars.
Yep.
And then we're also seeing games that were announced previously start to get delayed. Those big games.
Yeah.
So I think 2023 just makes the most sense.
Yeah.
I could totally see them pushing it to 2023 early, but at this point with the past experience with different games, it makes more sense just to push it a whole new year. Like give it a full new year. Make sure that game is as good as possible, because if it releases and it's good, it's going to sell well, and we could get another game.
Yeah.
So that would be great. Give us more.
Yeah. Maybe it's just because I'm more used to shows and movies and stuff, not so much the game industry, but it definitely feels like if you're coming out with a second one, you're going to have a third at least in mind.
Unless you're Valve. Portal 3, please.
Yeah.
Or Battlefront.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, BioShock, it got 3. Right? Yeah. I mean, it's going to get another game in the series too.
Is it?
They're making a new BioShock game. So that's cool. But I mean, with those franchises, usually because of how game development works, the second one is usually better than the first one. A lot of those cases. Yeah. The sequel, you get better mechanics. You usually get, not always better story, but usually you do. It's kind of the inverse of what movies do, because usually the first movie is so good, and then as soon as they start doing a sequel, it's like, not really holding up there. It's not very good. I mean, there's obviously exceptions to this, where like Toy Story 2 was, in terms of like objectively, the second one's probably better than the first one.
Ooh.
That doesn't necessarily mean I enjoy it more.
Right.
Because of all the nostalgia for Toy Story.
Of course.
But
yeah,
usually when there is a second game, you can have higher hopes and expectations around that game being better than the first one.
Yeah.
But I think expect 2023, late 2023, and if we get it any earlier, just be excited about it. But maybe also be a little hesitant too.
Yeah. I always say, I'm going to always say, bake it a little longer.
Yep.
Bake it a little longer.
Yep. Stick the toothpick in. Pull it back out. If there's anything still on there, put it back in the oven. Don't care how long it has to be. Right. Just cook it until it's done, and then give it to us steaming hot. Yeah. Don't give it to us doughy and cold and still got eggs and runniness into it. Give it to us nice and perfectly cooked. Overcook it maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give it a little extra juice. Anyway, I think with that, we're derailing into cooking analogies.
Yeah.
So I think we've.
I think it's time for dinner.
Thank you all so much for listening and watching this episode of Star Wars Uplink. We greatly appreciate your support. And if you are liking or enjoying the show, make sure to subscribe for free wherever you find podcasts or on the YouTube channel. Share it with your Star Wars friends. Comment down below if you're watching this on the video version, or send us an email, contact@uplinkpodcast.com. What are your expectations for the story of Jedi Fallen Order 2? Where do you expect it to go? Do you think we're going to focus on Cal? Would love to hear your thoughts. As always, thanks for listening. May the Force be with you.